zoning code as it relates to signs. And so we weigh in on that on occasion because one of the interesting parts of the code, I won't say whether it's good or bad, that's up to you, but if you are a private business, you can pretty much do whatever you want in terms of public art, unless you do it on public property. But if you want to commission a mural, the sign code prohibits you from doing a mural that would advertise your business, because usually a mural is bigger than the allowed square footage for signage on a business. So, you know, if you're a motorcycle company, you can have a flower mural on your business, but you can't have a motorcycle mural on your business, because that's really not in keeping with the zoning code. So one of the things that we end up talking about a lot in City Hall is that a sign or is it art? And is it allowed or is it not? So we have a lot of discussions about that. One of the things I help do is not get around the code, because I'm a city staff person, my job is to support the code, but to educate people about what they can and cannot do in terms of murals on private businesses. So that's a little bit about what I do. I just wanted to say briefly, one of the questions Leslie asked us to look at is what could you do to kind of get this all going? And I think we work, and Leslie worked with other groups that have really been interested in getting public art into their community, and how can we do that? And one of the things that I think has really made public art happen in the city is when people just take on a doable project and then try to make it happen, like Kingfield with the utility boxes or with their Wall Dogs project. The thing that I think hasn't worked as much is for groups to get involved in lengthy planning processes about how to do public art, and to thinking about it for an extended period of time, kind of in a big picture way. I think, and I don't know why that hasn't worked as much in the city, but people who really just kind of get on the ground and figure out something that's really doable and then take it on and move it forward seem to be way more successful than those that plan for several years and try to raise big pots of money. And so one thing I'd encourage you to do is to kind of look at the trail and think about where do you want to start? What end do you want to start on? And start working on that component. And pick a part of it also where the stakeholders that you're working with are going to be cooperative and supportive of what you want to do, like if it's the art board at the north end or the county at the south. So I think we should move on. But if you have questions, I'll be here.
Again, I'm Jamie. I'm here representing two organizations today, Altered Aesthetics and the Northeast Community Development Corporation. And so what the aspect I thought I'd talk about today is a little bit about the work that we do and how it fits in with the public arts spectrum and why I think I know some artists preaching to the choir here, but Leslie and I were talking earlier, we started talking about the legacy limit of public arts. People were like, why are we spending money on that when we could be spending money elsewhere? But it's really important that we're doing that. For me, I started doing the work that I'm doing at Altered Aesthetics because I think art historically has been a voice for those. It started out as a voice for those without a written language. They were communicating the things that were important to them, be it fertility gods or prayer votives. That's what they used. This is sort of the Reader's Digest condensed version of my view of art history. But I think as over time, as artists refined their craft and started doing different things with art, it became less about art that was important to them and their passion, and more about painting. It became a commodity, and artists were painting for basically rich merchants, and it kind of switched. And I think something was lost in that, and art became privatized. I think public art brings back doing art for art's sake, and reconnects art with the community. And I think that's what we're trying to do at Altered Aesthetics. I've got calendars here for anybody that's interested, but at Altered Aesthetics Gallery, we do monthly group shows. They're free to the public, and we try to choose topics that are more accessible. For example, we do a bite art show every year, and we get people that'll come into the gallery somebody who was, they'd never been to an art gallery before, but they really liked bikes, and it was really great for them to see art that connected to something that was important to them. And I think in this community, especially, that can be really critical. As far as the work we do at the CDC, I think that art plays a really big role in Canadian economic development, and for, I can't remember what the McKnight study showed, but for every dollar that's invested wisely into the art, it brings back 10 million for the local community. And a lot of the restaurants here are kind of stimulated by when there's art openings or when there's arts activity. If we were able to build this public art on Central, it would really kind of bring people through and into the community, and I think that's really important. For the Northeast CDC, some of the work that we're doing, some of you are familiar with the Jackson Flats Artist Housing Project, and it's been kind of an ongoing project that we have over, what was the node, not the urban node, the creative node, in between the creative and urban node of the Central Avenue Plan. And with the Jackson Street Artist Housing will be, it'll be part residential, but there's also a shared community space there, and it would be bringing some of that public gallery space to Central. Or near Central. I think in Northeast as a whole, working on projects like the Hollywood Theater and bringing different venues where art makes use of the community is important as well.
I'm Susan Voigt, and I'm here representing NEMA. I'm the Vice President of Learning the Ropes. Most of, or many of you, I assume, know Nick Legeros, who's been here quite a bit in the community, and Jeff Whitehouse, who's the current president, or was. He's on his way back. NEMA is a not-for-profit organization, and we represent 700 members. 600 of them are individual artists. And we hold one huge art event each year, which is Art World, where we bring in 40 to 60,000 people. Thank you. Brenda Kazar is here. Brenda, can you raise your hand? She's on the board also. And it's a huge project for us. We do distribute 35,000 artist directories each year. They are just beautiful, and they do a good job of representing Northeast. And about 12 years ago, NEMA and other community activist groups got together and developed the Northeast Arts District, which you're going to see signs of all the way around the Arts District and within it. They're on the poles. It was a huge project. They also developed the Northeast Minneapolis Arts Action Plan, which is 12 years into its 15 years of planning. And all of that has happened to try to make a safe haven for artists so that they don't get pushed out by high rents, and the same thing happened to them that happened downtown in the warehouse district where they got forced out and into Northeast Minneapolis. And consequently, we have the tremendous buildings now that we do, not only the Northrop King building, but the California building, the Cascade Arts building, the Thorpe, the Parma building, and they're everywhere in Northeast. One of the issues that we have right now is people finding us. And so we're really excited about a bike trail or any other way of identifying where the buildings are. One of the frustrations I have being on the ground floor of the Northrop King, people think I'm the main entrance sometimes, and they come in and say, I don't know how hard it was to find this place. We see we're in the Northeast Arts District out on the avenue, but we have no idea where you are. There's nothing pointing in. So some of us had developed signs so that when we're open, we can put the little sandwich board up saying we're open. But something like the grand round signs that have the arrows pointing in to say where the arts buildings are would be wonderful, because we can do all we want out on the avenue and become an arts district, which we have by city declaration. But unless people can find us, it's really difficult to do business that way. So that's one of my passions, and also we're trying to model ourselves after some of the other arts organizations, or arts organizations, I should say, in the country. Brenda has been very helpful in giving me a lot of reports on how we can look at other cities that are comparable to Minneapolis and what have they done with their arts communities and art walks and bike trails and whatever they have to try to foster that interactivity. We have a lot of artists in Northeast, a lot of excellent artists, and public art is something that we can participate in also. So it's something that we'd like to help with and talk about.
Maybe just as an initial, the Arts Action Plan, and I think Jamie's on the subcommittee. Could you talk about it a little bit, just how, just the plan itself and what you've done and what you want to do?
The plan, and if for anybody that wants to look through the plan, it's actually really interesting, and it's not a horrible read, but it's on, if you go to northeastminneapolisartsdistrict.com, you can download a PDF copy. But what it is, and it was, what's interesting with this plan, it was artist-driven, it wasn't business or economic-driven, and it was really from an interest in the artists to preserve this community for sustained use by artists. So it does a market analysis of the district and the community. A lot of community members were involved. And it lays out some recommendations for it lays out some of the recommendations for what this community can do to preserve artist space here. Some of that is marketing and signage for the Arts District, which is what the committee is currently working on. Some of that is credit union for artists to help artists with housing, part housing or small business planning, sustainable live workspace for artists, and those various things that could help keep artists here, which would in turn help the businesses as well. So,
is the committee part of NEMA, or is it it's freestanding?
It's associated with NEMA. I'm not sure if NEMA is the fiscal agent now. I think they're the fiscal agent, but there's representation on both sides. And the Northeast Arts Action Plan was done as, I'm not sure if the Chamber helped us at that point, but the CDC helped with that, and a couple other organizations were involved in the planning process. And it does, I think it meshes well with the Central Avenue plan. NortheastMinneapolisArtsDistrict.com.
It's actually
.org.
Yes, it's all spelled out.
And if you Google search Northeast Minneapolis Arts Action Plan or Arts District Committee, those will pop up on the website as well.
One other thing that I wanted to mention is that Debbie Woodward worked with Hedberg Maps at the Northeast or Northrop King building, and they have a Northeast Minneapolis Arts District map that we're now getting out into stores and wherever we can. And this has a really good map and guide of the Arts District, along with the logo, which is we find really important. So we're trying to get people who come into any part of Northeast to be able to get hold of one of these and find their way. And they're free at the Northrop King building in a couple of things. So if you'd like to take whatever's here, please do.